Hello and welcome to the theElpyDimension. I am your guide, Elpy. Today is the 9th of August, 2025, and this is my Canadian Nightcrawler bin, and I think it's actually been 29 days since the 11th of July since I've been in here. And the temperature in the basement is about, what's that say, like 72 degrees Fahrenheit and about 23 degrees Celsius. And they say to keep Canadian Nightcrawlers between 50 and 60. These are all castings on top. 50 and 60 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. This is not a Canadian Nightcrawler. See, because of the yellow tip on its tail. And its clitellum is kind of stretched out. I'm going to put it in bin number 2. Alright. Well, we see one big guy. So we know they aren't dead. Although, I was about to say, I always think they're unhealthy when they're this color. Because they're usually, but this guy's actually kind of active. He's quite active. Okay. Here's another, breeding composting worms at that. Put them in bin 2. Okay, so we've found one. Yep, our red wigglers that found their way over here, or European Nightcrawlers. There are many of them, which is not what I want in this bin, because they're going to break stuff down faster. I don't need, so I don't know, 29 days might be too much for Canadian Nightcrawlers. But so far still we've only seen the one adult. Last we were in here, I know there's babies. Not going to worry about picking out any more of those guys right now. But I'm obviously going to have to make a more concerted effort to get the red wigglers out of here. And while also making sure they're not Canadian Nightcrawler babies. Okay, now normally when I start to disturb the bin, the adults become very active. The adult Canadian Nightcrawlers. And here's one. I wonder if this is actually a younger individual. Look how its clitellum is not quite as prominent as they normally are. And he's actually kind of small compared to some of the others. Man, there's a ton of composting worms. Same here. This one, see how obvious its clitellum is versus this one. And this one, they don't stand out quite as much. So these could well be younger individuals. So we've seen 4 Canadian Nightcrawlers. For those who don't know, or perhaps have forgotten, I started this bin on the 25th of January 2025 with 75. That's a cocoon, but my guess is it's a composting worm cocoon. 2025 was 75 Canadian Nightcrawlers from a box store, a big store. I think we're at 6. And yeah, this material is very, like, done. It is cooler down here. And I counted them in March and I had 70. So what's that, 6 or 7? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You know, just a minute. Let's see if maybe we can't do a fast count. I'm gonna put, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, oops, 10. So there's 10 Canadian Nightcrawlers. 11. I'm going to put them over there. 12. And we'll keep adding this chunkier paper for them to okay. Come on. $12, 13, 14. They're all kind of this more 15. Their color a little more gray brown, I feel like. Maybe I'll have to go back and look. But the color that I affiliate with them less healthy, 16 and 17. But they are starting to come out more actively. Whoops, sorry. 18. Yeah, like this. They're not quite as active. 19. 20. This is a nice big healthy one, like we're used to seeing. 21. Yeah, this material really seems quite broken down. 22. I need to keep adding stuff to my little container. There's some rather wet material and worms. 23. 24. I'll come back. 25. Let's go ahead and put this paper in there. Okay. 25. Here's somebody coming out over here. Oh, 26. It was active. 27 and 28. Mm-hmm. 29. It's caught up in some plant matter. Where'd he go? 30. 31. 32. 33. This is definitely a young one. Oh, cool. So this is one of the babies, kind of grown up. Did I say 32 or 33? We'll call this 34. One of the babies. Okay. I definitely see cocoons, but again, I think they're composting worms. What did we just say? 34. We called that 34. 35. 36. 'Until it's wet down here. 37. I'm surprised. I was actually expecting I was going to pull up a handful of worms. It does stink a little bit. Sulfur smell. That was 37. Yeah, it's quite wet. Here's 38. 39. Oh. Now this is either a seed or a cocoon, but that little, it's like a little nub on the end. I think this is a cocoon, so that's cool. 39, 40. This could also be another young individual, but did have a clitellum. 41, active and seemingly healthy individual. See how it's not quite as gray or brownish, grayish. Can't get him to. There's more pink to it. So that was 41. This is 42. And then this guy's just kind of limp and Oops. 43. See how I'm going to guess this is also a younger worm. 44. Again, not quite as thick. 45 and 46. Oops. 47. Okay. Lots of composting worms. Holy crap, they've been breeding in here. This is probably a blue worm. I think I just saw a cocoon and I should have grabbed it. Looked almost like a hatched cocoon. Just gonna keep piling stuff to make those guys feel safer. Oop, there's someone right in front of me. Where'd you go? 48. I remember this corner was pretty wet, so I piled it. Ooh, still feels really wet. Super wet. Alright, well then we're gonna take this wet material and it's gonna go into the rest of the bin, and we'll put some new dry stuff down here because 49. 50. Okay, now look at this guy, right? That's its clitellum, and it looks pretty skinny. Oh, oh yeah, okay. Versus this one, 51. Now it could be that this is just an unhealthy worm, and this is a healthier worm, or we have an adult and a teenager. I don't know. I'm new to Canadian Nightcrawlers, but I might be right. So that's 51. Oops, sorry. 52. That's a Canadian Nightcrawler baby. See the tail? Yeah. My phone battery's low because I was like, oh, it's fine. I'm just going to do a quick worm thing, so I got enough battery. Then I did what I always do. I'm like, maybe I want to look and search and count. So, I might have to give up this endeavor. But on the one hand, I feel encouraged by what I have found. Oh, I was going to put dry material down there, wasn't I? Well, maybe next time. 53. 54. 55, again, a really, really small individual. 56. 57. $58. $59. Well, I was feeling pretty encouraged. Oops. 60, because they weren't all dead. And 60, last time I counted 70. And that's still, you know, I've heard these guys are hard to care for. And so on the one hand, it's still like, hey, you've got, this is another baby. Your Canadian Nightcrawler. See the fat tail? Hard to see without the flash. But when you say that they're breeding, and at least 5 of, we know a couple of who I just counted are new worms. So if there are no more in here, then, which last time I was a lot more exhaustive with going round and round the bin. And this stuff is, this material's, you know, I did put a lot of soil in here, really well broken down rather quickly. I mean, they are pretty big worms. But, yeah, so it's looking like there's only 60. This might be a cocoon. Okay, I see somebody's tail over here. $61. So the upside, yay. You know, we've actually had, little did I know when I started this venture, that this would be the hottest summer that we've had in a very long time. As long as I can remember. Consistently hot. Consistently mid 80s, 62. And so that means my basement staying at 70 degrees longer. You know, that I wasn't anticipating that. But so to see that I still have 62 that's great. You know, you want to be positive about it. You say, yeah, I just saw somebody else. Oh, that's great. $63. That's pretty encouraging. On the other hand, when you say I'm down now that we're at, say, 63, 12 individuals from the beginning, 7 individuals from the last count, but I know they've been breeding. We saw a couple of babies that I haven't counted, but we also know that some of the ones that I've counted are young worms. So really, you know, the ideal is I'd have counted 80 worms because they're multiplying. You know what I'm saying? Like, you definitely want, obviously, if you're trying to raise or breed creatures or plants, you want to have more than you started with. So it's that part is like wah, wah, wah. I definitely have lost worms at the same time that I've gained worms, but the rate at which they've died is faster than they are multiplying, is what we're looking at. And given how much I've dug around and stirred around now, I think it's safe to assume that 63 adults, maybe there was one in there. Okay, there's somebody over here. I just saw them down at the bottom. $64. All right. So, officially, from the start of this bin, we are down 11 worms. From the last count, I don't know why I say we. Sorry. From the last count, I'm down, I think I say we from like the standpoint of like the bin, like the collective. From the last count, I'm down 6 worms. However, I know they're breeding, and I know some of who I counted are new. So, that means I've actually lost more than 11 adults. But I still have 64 worms, 64 Canadian Nightcrawlers. And yeah, this material looks like I should harvest it. You can't even tell what's potting soil in there anymore. What am I going to do? Well, we are going to put our 64 worms back in there. Yay. Look at all of them. Aren't they awesome? Yay. So exciting. Still awesome. 64 is, I mean, that's still a good count, but, and they are breeding. I don't know why they're dying. Maybe I'm not feeding them enough. Maybe I'm not feeding them properly. Maybe it's just too warm for them. But 64 are still alive. So, actually what I'm going to do, I shouldn't have dumped them out yet, because I just remembered. I have a cucumber that I want to put down in here. But these dang composting worms, though. A cucumber. I'm really just feeding them. Okay, now my phone is at less than 5%. You can't tell, but I can. All right, let's be fast then, Elpy. Okay. That's food scraps that we're adding there. All the worms are over here now. But I'm also going to, I have a bunch of weeds and garden trimmings for these guys. I think they need soil. I think this is a wild amaranth. Kind of a huge plant. And some burdock leaves. All right. I am just going to lay that on top, and then I am going to soak shredded paper in this water I have over here. Quite a bit of it. And then I'm going to bring the wet